Hello, welcome back to the POD Sport Zone. Today, Coach Joe and I will talk baseball, and we'll walk you through our top 5 Major League Baseball sleepers for 2021. We'll do that and more straight ahead.
All right, we're here at Truist Park today, so take a look here. But here's a reason. This is came from the Dodgers beat, so I want you to check out Joe and Bill's Sports Zone. 11 p.m. Saturday, spell up King's time. So let's go and see you there.
Working one-on-one with 4, with 3, with 2 on the clock. Kobe! Here goes Barry Sanders. He's gone.
Twins looking for their second power play goal of the year.
There's a breaking ball in for a strike, and he stood there like the house by the side of the road and watched it go by.
Okay, we are here. You're here, and Coach Joe is here. Coach, nice to meet up with you again in the zone.
How good was that intro?
That was awesome. That's the Kingley way, man.
You can't get any better than that right there.
Absolutely not. He is absolutely awesome. Great guy.
He's locked in right there. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd like to thank the Kingley way for doing that for us. Outstanding young man. So anyway, Joe, what we're going to do is we're going to yield the first pitch honors to you. And we'll go ahead and we'll alternate back and forth as we work through our top 5 sleepers. So the honor is yours. You got first shot at it. Who you got on the docket?
All right. So this is how it worked. Bill and I had some discussions off camera on what we were going to do and who we were going to pick. And so it took me a little bit to figure it out. But I spent some time with Bill playing fantasy football. And I kind of got a feeling for where we were going with this. And so there's a couple ways I'm going to describe this to you, okay? So the teams that I'm going to pick, I didn't necessarily pick them. I'm going to say that Bill had a factor in that. And so I'm going to relate it to a couple things. If you've seen the movie The Walking Dead, there's a great episode where there's zombies everywhere, and they're trying to get away, and this guy, Shane, shoots one of his buddies in the leg.
Oh, my God.
He shoots him in the leg. That way, Shane's not the slowest guy, okay? And his buddy's going to get eaten by the zombies, and Shane can escape.
Down to my last.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
Bill picked a lot of teams that were just about to make the playoffs last year, except for Detroit. And then he threw me to the zombies with the rest of them.
I shot you in the leg.
So he shot me in the leg and told me to run from zombies, and he scampered off. So that's how this kind of works. So my teams might not be that great, but I'm going to start off right from the start with the San Francisco Giants.
That's not a bad selection. What are you talking about?
I'm at the very end. I'm going to tell you why it's not a bad selection, and there's only one reason it's not a bad selection. Okay. So they have a bullpen full of lefties. Jake McGee, really nice closer. Jose Alvarez. Their lineup is one of the worst in Major League Baseball.
You're welcome.
They don't put a lot of guys up to the bat, so it is one of the worst. And truth be told, it could be one of the worst teams in baseball. If they're not, they're going to be one of the bottom 3. They're not going to be very good. Yeah, Bill looks confused right now. They're not going to be very good. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to be very good. Buster Posey, That's probably their most popular guy that they have on the roster. It's questionable right now he's even going to play. He might opt out. I understand why he might want to opt out with this group. They added Tommy La Stella, which is actually a huge free agency pick. That was a big one. That's a great name. Great for them. That's a really nice signing for them. But like I said, one of the worst lineups in baseball. Not a lot going on for them. So here's why they're a dark horse. They're supposed to be horrible. And anything that they don't do that's not horrible, that's a win.
Absolutely. See, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So that's how we got started. Did you like how Bill looked, concerned and confused when I said they're going to be the worst team in baseball?
Yeah.
He was confused because he knows they're going to be one of the worst three. He just didn't expect me to say they're going to be the worst of all of them.
And they're not going to be. The Pirates got that one. They have that one wrapped up.
Yeah, that might be. That might be.
But look, San Francisco, I think they're going to do better than what you think, Coach Joe. I can kind of see it, but it's not so much that they're real bad. It's I would say one of the goals for them would be to stay in the wild card race in 2021. Now you
can't even say that with a straight face. You were hiding a smile and a smirk when you said you did. You were hiding it the entire when you said stay in the race.
Hey, I'm all about full disclosure. But we got to keep in mind too, baseball fans. They're in a brutal division. They really are. And it's going to be that way for a while. So the trick is to be the obvious next team up. And I think that's your boys in the San Francisco Giants. And not to mention they play down there by the water. So what are you complaining about? They got a nice stadium.
What I heard you saying was when people start getting shot in the leg, when the zombies are around, they just don't have to be the last one.
Oh my!
They just need to be faster than somebody else. I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
Okay. All right. With that, we're going to go on to mine.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah, and you're going to make me feel really bad when we go from the Giants to the New York Mets. And
there we go.
That's who I got on the docket. Well, Coach, you be showing me up in football, man. Come on. You be shooting me in the leg, capping me in the knee in football.
Yeah.
Hey,
so it makes sense. It makes sense that the Mets might just be in that game playing for the World Series. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You know what? You be capping me in the knee all day long, with college football. It's like, hey, POD, I'll talk about the good stuff. You talk about the bad stuff. I'll ride out of town on a white horse looking like the good guy, and you wear the black cap, hat, riding out on the black horse, Oh, yeah, I got you. Bill. I got you covered. Why? Because you my guy. You my guy. And does this ring a bell? Does this ring a bell? A bell. Bill, I like you the most. That's why I'm going to kill you last. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it's been ringing in my ears for a long time.
Oh my God, that's not good. Okay, so the New York Mets, just by luck, by the luck of the straw, if you will, I ended up with the New York Mets. All right,
by the luck of the straw, he says.
Yes, they did lose Rosario though. Yeah. They lost Rosario and Jimenez, but by the way, they did add Francisco Lindor, Carlos Carrasco, Trevor May, James McCann, Villar, and Pilar, not to mention a whole bunch of prospects. There is some, now don't get excited, sports fans. There is some legitimate World Series upside with the offense and the rotation. Be quiet there, Joe. So their goal for the team is to win the division. Mets fans always want to win it all, but they need to, they need to put on the brakes because there is a little old team from Atlanta called the Atlanta Braves. So we're going to have to see how that works out for them.
Atlanta's probably your number one dark horse, the way this is going to work.
My number one dark horse, Noah Cinegard, the right-handed pitcher for the Mets. He's like Thor. He can throw down the thunder with the fastball. He's also very comfortable with the bat. He's 6'6", and he blasted 6 career home runs and 2, including 2 against the Dodgers back in 2016. So it's by accident, not a cap on the leg. It's by accident that I give them an off-season grade of an A+ with the free agents that they brought in. So, Coach, who's next on the hit list?
Who do I have next? After hearing that Mets, I don't even know what to say.
You don't even want to play anymore.
I don't even know what to say. Who did I have next?
The Angels.
The Los Angeles Angels. They have a lot of veteran pitchers. Dylan Bundy, Jose Quintana, Alexis Cobb. Some of those names sound they sound bigger than they really are. These are guys that are good veteran pitchers, but they could be a little beyond their time. But if they pitch to their potential, those to be pretty good. They still have Mike Trout, and if you know anything about baseball, Mike Trout, he's an MVP candidate year in, year out. Just one of the greatest of all times. What's pretty amazing to think about is they have Mike Trout, and they also have Albert Pujols. Albert was basically Mike Trout before Mike Trout is really what he was. He's been playing a long time now. I think he's in he's 41 years old. He's playing his final year, playing in Major League Baseball. I think he's been with the Angels for about 10 years. So they still have some big names. They've had some injuries here in the past. They've had some nice value in free agency. They don't play in a great division, so that definitely helps them. They still have Kurt Suzuki, great catcher. Not gonna be in the All-Star game or anything like that, but just gonna give you solid innings, can frame pitches. They have a lot of big names for a team that's not projected to do a whole lot, but there's definitely potential for them to be exciting. And with names like that and Hall of Famers like that, you got to tune in and you got to watch what's going to happen because they're going to be okay. Like I said, not in a great division. They're in a position where they could crawl up there and they could find themselves on a wild card spot. Absolutely.
They should have one goal in mind, and that's to get Mike Trout a playoff win. If nothing else, just to get the media off his back. So anyway, onward.
Let me throw this out there about the Angels. They have a really intriguing player, very intriguing player. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. Shohei Hatani. He's a pitcher. He's also a hitter. He's one of those guys that he can walk on the mound and give you great innings, and they can throw him anytime they want to as a pinch hitter. Really, really intriguing player. Not many teams can have a pinch hitter that can also give you a lot of innings, and he's a guy that could, in those close games throughout the year, could really be a vital factor in their success. And just a really intriguing name. You just don't see those guys that pitch and pinch hit, but he's one of them.
Wow, absolutely. Hey, and this will make you feel better. I got the Philadelphia Phillies. All right, the Phillies, they added JT Realmuto, Didi Gregorius, Archie Bradley, Brendan Kinsler, Jose Alvarado, as well as Watson. They are mostly running back the same group that missed the playoffs, from a year ago. So, I mean, this isn't much better than the Giants. They now have the second longest playoff drought in the sport, which is a bit disappointing when you consider how much they invested in the team. And I gave them an off-season grade of C+ in free agency. So, Coach, I'm down with the guys that you picked, the Giants, the Angels. So far, you're off to a grand start. You really are. And the Philadelphia Phillies, if I can trade you the Phillies for the Giants, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I'll even throw in a keg and a case of Pringles.
I like the Pringles. You caught my attention when you said the guys that I picked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the guys that you picked and you sent my way.
That I picked and sent your way. Oh my goodness. Okay, so with that,
I have a question. Who did you pick next for me? Who do I have next on my list?
who do you do? Oh, he knows you guys. He's being a stickler. He just don't want to say the Nationals name, but they were a playoff team too, the Washington Nationals. So, what you belly aching about, Coach?
Hey, thanks for throwing me a bone with the Nationals. Okay, that they play in a great division. When you look at that division, there's 3 teams, there's 4 teams. They could all come out of there. And if when Bill starts to put up where we picked guys in the division, that is the one division that Bill and I we're actually not even close, because there's 4 teams in there that just pick one. They could be 1 to 4 throughout. They added veteran pitcher Josh Lester. Everybody knows who Josh is. For the Cubs, they still have Steven Strasburg. Something that's interesting, we don't have all the details on yet. They released reliever Jeremy Jeffries. That's something that was big news lately. We really don't think that had anything to do with adding Josh Lester, but that really hasn't come out yet. They said it was for personal reasons. They still have Juan Soto. Juan is probably one of the best offensive players in the game, realistically. If you follow baseball and you know who Ted Williams is a guy that they compare to Juan Soto. Wow. Not a strong pitching unit, for sure. Starting pitching for them really carries the load. Not a great bullpen. Their starting pitching is probably going to have to carry about 85% of what they're going to do this year, and that's quite a bit. They signed all-star reliever Brad Hall. Like I said, good offensive unit. They finished in the top 10 in runs, top 10 in hits, top 10 in batting average. So, yeah, they're there. They're really there. Thanks for giving me that one, Bill. I do appreciate that. I appreciate you giving me that one for sure. But the reason that Bill actually did give me that one is it's a loaded division. It's for sure a loaded division.
Oh my gosh! I really love your hat there, by the way.
They've got some guys that can still really pitch for them, and Corbin and Strasburg and Shazier. They need to get back to where they were in 2019, get back in the playoffs. And this is a team that, don't be surprised. Maybe they shouldn't be one of our dark horses. But in that division, pick one. This could be a group that comes out. Even if not number one, you're probably going to see 2 teams from this division that's probably going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
for sure.
And they have the one-time Tiger pitcher, Max Scherzer. So, he's getting a little long in the tooth, but he can still bring the heat, Yep. And he's one of those guys that when I mentioned that they have guys that
really good starting pitching. He's one of those guys. They got 3 guys that can get out there and get started, but they really need to rely on those guys heavy.
Absolutely. And we'll be back with my 3rd pick straight ahead. That's a look at the old Tigers Stadium. I am a traditionalist. You got the English D and coach. Whose colors are you donning there? Who is that?
Well, that's the Milwaukee Brewers. You talked about Cecil Cooper and Ben Ogley the last time we were on, and there actually is a lot of great history for the Brewers. And I live in Wisconsin, and you may have overshot a little bit when you said that I am a huge Brewer fan. I follow them. I like to have them on the TV. I like to have them on the radio. I love being at the stadium. Try to follow them day in and day out. Not the fan that you are of the Tigers, but I absolutely, when it comes to summer, you got to love where you're at, and Brewers and Brats and baseball, and it's good stuff. You made an interesting comment that you're not as big of a Brewer fan as I am a Tigers fan. With a logo like that, where did you get that hat, by the way? Toys R Us? Finally, boom, got one in there on the coach. Yeah. Did I mention shooting me in the leg when zombies are chasing us? I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I did. I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
So we're sitting in left field, and in between innings, they come out, and some lucky person gets to play catch with the outfielders. And every single inning, they throw out 2, 3, 4 balls into the bleachers, and that's where a lot of the kids hang out. And they have their oversized gloves, and they're just trying to catch all these balls. And I told Bill when we were out there, I said, we're going to have some balls come our way for sure. We are absolutely going to have. So, sure enough, ball comes in just to my right. I can't reach it. Bill's right there. All of it. I don't know why he gets alligator arms. There's no linebacker. There's no strong safety that's going to hit him coming over the middle. But he gets alligator arms, and he couldn't reach up and catch it. And, some 7-year-old kid caught it and went home happy. But Bill totally missed the ball on that one. Fact. Are you going to deny that?
Okay. Here, let me defend myself here publicly. I was standing on the bleacher on the seat, and the player, we were in the second row above in the outfield, all right, by the overhang. And you can't see the player down below. You can't see him. So all you're looking for is a ball to come flying over, and we were up near kind of the front. And before I can even react, the ball was like 10 feet over my head. And you're like, why didn't you catch that? Well, what the heck? I'm not Spider-Man. It
was Ryan Braun. It was clearly obvious. He advertised. He held it up, advertised, pointed. It said, here it comes. And then he threw it. Crocodile arms.
All right. Time to reload. All right.
Yeah, but some kid went home happy for sure.
Absolutely. And if I can make a young man happy, I'm game. All right. We've got the Cincinnati Reds, who is a favorite of Check Out the Rileys. But Bill Riley, don't get too excited. They lost Trevor Bauer in the offseason, not to mention Iglesias, but they did add Sean Doolittle, D. Gordon, and Kyle Holder. Those 3 guys could not replace Trevor Bauer at all. It's too bad with this club we didn't get a full 2020 season. They only played 60 games. They were a streaky team a year ago, but they did win 11 of their last 14 games of the shortened season a year ago. their goal obviously is to get back to the playoffs. Last year was supposed to be the year, but the fates were against them, and they need to hope that the weakness of the division works in their favor. The Reds have taken advantage of Lorenzen's athleticism in recent years by occasionally using him in a two-way role, which has included pinch hitting, pinch running, playing all three outfield positions, and even starting 6 games in center field. Perhaps by picking this one, I'm investing in fool's gold. Sorry, Riley. I give them a grade of an off-season D, as in Delta, D plus, Coach Joe. So how is that I gave myself all the winners? Sorry, Riley. But so far, Coach, I look at your guys, your teams, and you're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good, especially with that Toys R Us hat on. You can't say nothing. You got nothing. What about your next one? He taking off his Toys R Us hat. Oh my gosh, I could never do that to the English D. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my, but hey, show him your shirt. Show him your shirt. That way I could pick on your shirt and maybe you'll take that off too. I'm sure some of the gals in the FDG and Hazy and Judy Fisher and maybe Bill Riley, who knows? Maybe they'll like that.
You had me till you said Bill Riley, and then I got nothing for that.
You got nothing. That's right.
I got nothing for that.
Okay. Speaking of nothing, who's your next one?
Is Toys R Us even still open? I don't even think that's a thing anymore.
I don't even know.
I don't think it is. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
You guys, he took his hat off. Bam! Got the coach. Oh, it's been a while. It took 3 shows to catch up with you.
Yep.
So anyway, Milwaukee Brewers, is that your next choice?
So my next choice is the Brewers, and it's funny that Bill sits here and he harasses me and he pokes fun at me and talks about my Toys R Us hat. I actually have a lot of options on the table right now. Mad Dog Radio has been asking me to come in and do some things. Barstool Radio, if you haven't heard of Barstool Radio on Sirius XM, it's more of an R-rated version of sports talk radio. I'm even thinking about leaving this show for 92.1 out of Boston just to read the sports, just to see how the Elroy softball team did once in a while, because I'm probably going to get a better reception and partnership in doing that. But I do have the Brewers next. I do.
Okay. And what you got on the boys?
What I have on the boys is Brian Braun right now is not sure what he's going to do. He's contemplating retirement. No matter what you want to say about him, the checkered past, and I totally get it. And I wasn't one of those guys that ever bought back into him after the steroid scandal, and still would have been really, really cool had Bill caught a ball from him when we were out in the outfield, because one of us could have held that ball up for this show and said, this is the one that Brian threw to us that Bill missed badly. But, we had that opportunity, but that's gone. Apparently he couldn't reach it, or he was, he was on a stool or whatever he said it was. But so Milwaukee signed in the offseason. Cardinals second baseman, Colton Wong, great player. They signed Red Sox center fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr. Both are very significant signings. They both won Golden Gloves in the past. So they're going to join Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, also as Gold Glovers. So the Brewers have the opportunity on any given day to put 3 guys in the outfield that are have won a Golden Glove. And those of you that aren't sure what a Golden Glove is, in this case, it's not boxing. But if you were thinking that, you actually are correct. It's for being a great defensive player. It's a high honor to have in Major League Baseball. So they can put 3 of those guys out there. At Wong at second base, they have potentially 4 Golden Glovers. They are a team that last year they scored, they were 27th out of 30th in runs per game. Last year, not very good. They said this year that they definitely wanted to focus on being a better defensive team. They're hoping that the bats could come around. They want to give up less runs. So that was their investment in free agency. They have Devin Williams. Some pretty cool stats about the Brewers, whether they're my team or not. Devin Williams was the reliever of the year last year. He's a right-hander. He was also the rookie of the year. So a great pitcher there. They still have Josh Hader. He won that in 2018 and 2019. He was the reliever of the year. So 3 years in a row, as crazy as it may be, the Brewers have had the reliever of the year. So definitely some potential there. Freddy Peralta, they've got him. He's one of those guys that he can be a starter. He can be a bullpen player. He's one of those guys that can really take your team much further as far as the pitching staff goes, because he's very durable. He can do a lot of things for you. They actually have a couple guys that are Cy Young candidates, and Corbin Burns, who actually got some, I believe, 6 votes last year for the Cy Young, and Brandon Woodruff is another one of those guys that could get some votes. So they're going to get some bats back this year. They should be better defensively. They invested in defense this year in free agency, and that division they play in, they could be 1, they could be 2, they could be 3, they could be 4. That's just the way that division goes.
Absolutely.
And typically the Brewers are going to be one of those teams. They're going to carry you all the way till October, and they're going to keep it close. And they're going to make the wild card and get beat, or they're going to carry you to the edge of the wild card and keep you interested the whole way, and then they're not quite going to make it. But they do keep it interesting, and it is fun to be a part of that. Yeah. It's just one of those clubs that can't quite get over the hump to get you there. They've been close a couple times. Honestly, They really have.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't beat the Dodgers. Most teams can't. But they've been there. When they couldn't beat the Cubs, they have. So, yeah, they're going to be exciting to watch. Hopefully this year they're going to come out with a whole new line of sports gear. Hopefully I don't have to go to Toys R Us to buy hats anymore, and some pretty cool sweatshirts and T-shirts and stuff like that. I actually have a lot, but I'm really looking forward to getting a new hat this year for the Brewers.
Yeah, you should be in the market for a new hat. I was just going to say, Coach, can you put the mask back on? You look much better. Oh, I mean the hat. Can you put the hat back on?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
I meant the hat. Yeah. But you know what? Hey, Coach, the Brewers, they do have a scrappy team. Yeah. And, sports fans.
Craig Counsell he's one of those guys. He was an infielder. He played hard, and he played for some good team. And he manages his teams just like that. When you say the word scrappy, they really are. They are scrappy.
Yeah. And you know who could be the difference for them catching the St. Louis Cardinals? Yelich. If Yelich can stay healthy and stay on the field, he could be a huge difference maker. There's not a baseball team in baseball in the major leagues that would not to want to have a Christian Yelich in their lineup. The guy is awesome. You mentioned another guy, Coach.
I know who you're going to say.
Brandon
go for it.
Yep. Yeah, I talked about one of my guys being a good home run hitter. This guy made a name for himself for a pitcher hitting home runs. I had that 407-foot blast against Kershaw in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. I mean, it's tough to get a single off of Kershaw, let alone putting one, in the seats, with a round trip.
Sometimes when you close your eyes and swing the bat hard, it happens.
Oh, he's talented. For a pitcher, he is really talented. For those sports fans that don't know too much about baseball, your pitchers aren't necessarily good hitters in the major leagues. But the Milwaukee Brewers have themselves a guy that can come in and actually be an X factor. If your pitcher is hitting and you don't have the designated hitter going and the pitcher has to play, that's a good X factor when you can have Brandon Woodruff come up to the plate, So not a bad choice, Coach.
Shortened season last year, Lorenzo Cain. I mean, the guy, he's an all-star year in and year out, and when he's not an all-star, he just missed the ballot. Great defensive player, great bat. He's another guy that only played 3 games last year.
Absolutely. My team, my next one, you got 4 good ones, Coach. 4 great sleepers so far, But me, I had to settle for the Chicago White Sox.
He had to settle. He had to settle for a team that could play the Braves or the Mets, mind you, in the World Series. He had to settle for the White Sox and the Mets.
And thank you for emphasizing settle. And that's right. I had to settle for these guys because Coach picked through all of the other ones, and these are the leftovers. But the White Sox, they did add Lynn, Hendricks, and Eaton. 3 really good guys to their lineup. Lance Lynn, I could see him eating up quality innings, with his pitching. Of course, their goal is the same every year, to win the division. They are in a tough division other than the Kansas City Royals and the Tigers. And hey, look, you don't have to hire Tony Relusa to build the future. They want to take this division right now. And what's standing in their way? The Minnesota Twins. And you got to even throw in the Cleveland Indians. They're another one. Their off-season grade, by chance, it was just happenstance, I ended up with the Chicago White Sox A+ free agency grade. So
everybody loves happenstance. Everybody loves happenstance.
You got to get me some happenstance. So where does that bring us? Your 5th and final sleeper before we recap them. Who do you got?
So I actually have a sleeper in this one. If I think I have a sleeper, this is actually the one that I think I have, the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a team that it's going to be tough for them because they're going to have to deal with the Yankees. But this is a team that just has talent from one end to the other. Lourdes Gurriel could be an all-star this year. He's batting an average of .291 for the last 3 years. Ted Hernandez, 87 RBIs. He's one of the best hitters in 2019, even though they played in a shortened season. He could have an MVP season, and that's not saying that lightly. He really could. They're a young team. They're really young. A lot of good hitters throughout. 1-9 in their batting lineup. They could be, not only could they be a legit playoff team, they could be a legit contender to win their division. They signed George Springer. They just have a loaded outfield. They got 4 guys that can play out in the outfield. Toronto is not acting like a small market team. They're not acting like they're north of the border. This is a team that they're acting like they are a big league team. They're in a big market. They're saying we're going to do this, and not only are they going to do it, they're not signing these guys for the short term. They're doing it for the long term. They definitely to be a team that's going to be contending here for quite some time. They signed Vladimir Guerrero. They've had Vladimir Guerrero. I'm sorry. He lost 42 pounds in the off season.
Wow.
He's just dedicated. He can play first base. He can play third base. He's really dedicated, just being a better player. He's got great power. This is a team that's building themselves for the long run. So they're going to contend for a division title for sure. Mm-hmm. And they're going to contend for a division title for years to come. And I think that of my 5 teams that Bill gave me, I think this is actually the one. This is the one that I think, if I have to pick one, that's a legit contender that can make a serious push to possibly find themselves in the World Series.
Outstanding. Yeah, they're really knocking on the door. They're right there. They're very close. So before we go further, we're going to break down. Coach and I are going to compare the divisions. So basically, here's how we came up with our top 5 sleepers. For those of you that are looking on, we could only select a team that's below the red line in each division, meaning we could not take the first 2 place finishers in each division. Coach Joe went with the Toronto Blue Jays, the Los Angeles Angels, Los Angeles Angels, Washington Nationals, Milwaukee Brewers, and the San Francisco Giants. I got stuck with the White Sox, the Tigers. I'm going to come back to them. I didn't do the Tigers yet, but there's a reason for that. Philadelphia, New York Mets, and the Cincinnati Reds are the teams that I ended up with. So, Coach, you had a great showing on those 5. Let's take a short break, and then we'll bounce back and we'll compare our divisional teams and see where we agree as opposed to where we disagree, and we'll do that straight ahead.
Hello, this is King with the Dodger Beat. I am here at State Farm Arena, the home of the Atlanta Hawks, so check out Bill and Joe Sports Zone on Saturday night, 11 p.m. Philippines time.
He's crushing us.
Yeah, looking good.
No, he's crushing. He's there at a Hawks game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta is a fun city. I've been there several times. Great city. There's a lot of energy, even when they're bad, when the Hawks are bad, a lot of energy in that stadium. Everything is right there. The CNN Center is right there. College Football Hall of Fame, just down the road. Amazing 3-story sports bar, stats. I'm envious. I wish I was there right now. That's a great place to be.
Yeah, Kingley, man, he had it going on. And here we're going to take you to the American League West Division. As you can see, the standings there. I have the Astros, Angels, Athletics, the Mariners, and the Rangers. Coach, we kind of flip-flopped on the Athletics and the Angels. Any reason as to why you put the A's in front of the Angels?
Yeah, absolutely. I just couldn't agree with everything you said. So I think they're going to be within a couple games of each other. They're going to be with it, and they have a better uniform with the green and gold. So I went Athletics.
That is just too much fun. All right, so we'll bring up the AL Central. Coach Joe's got the Twins, the Sox, Indians, Royals, and the Tigers. I'm going with the White Sox to win the American League Central this year. But I do admit that it's going to be a dogfight right down to the wire between the top 3 teams. And keep in mind, the Royals might make some noise this year, although I did pick the Tigers to make some noise. But the Royals are an improved baseball team, and they can do well as well. What about the Twins? Obviously, you favor them over the White Sox, Coach.
Well, I am a small market team. The Twins are a small market. They just continue to have great players year in and year out, and sometimes you have to figure out why they're so competitive every year, and you just don't hear a lot about them. They're just really well coached. It's a great city for baseball. The White Sox are going to tend to spend a lot more money. The Twins are actually going to be one of those teams that are going to lose players to that big money. And Bill did have the White Sox as one of his dark horses this year, and you saw that they were picked number one. And you might see that he or I may even have them picked to go to the World Series. So not sure how that's a dark horse, but it is Bill's rules.
It is Bill's rules. But, in keeping with the rules.
Bill's rules.
Yeah, I did pick teams that fell below the red line. They didn't finish first or second a year ago, so they were free game. I can't be responsible because you picked the Giants and you left the White Sox available to me. I'm innocent.
I'm just going to say congratulations.
You're just going to say, all right, let's take a look at the AL East and see where we differ there. Oh, we don't. We both agree. Wow, we both agree.
So when we picked these teams, we did agree. I'm not someone who ever likes to pick the Yankees for anything. We have the Rays there at second. We haven't talked about them a whole lot. I put a huge emphasis on the Blue Jays as one of the dark horse teams. Not only do I think they can challenge the Rays for a wild card, I'm still picking them to challenge the Yankees for the division, and I definitely have them picked going into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. But the only thing is the Rays had a terrible off season in terms of free agency, and
they actually have a grade of an F.
Yeah,
in free agency.
Gave them an F. Yeah,
I tell you what, have a grade of an F,
and that could be the difference maker between them and the Yankees.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the National League West and see what we got on the docket here. Coach, you want to run through those? Can you see those very clearly? I know you're looking at
Yep. So another tough one for me is anytime you have to pick a Los Angeles team or an LA team for a baseball fan, unless you're a huge fan of one of those. Of course, you're going to pick your guys there, but a lot of us, we want to see some of those other teams in there, like the Padres as an example. It would be great to see the Padres maybe step into first place there. Bill and I have the Dodgers and the Padres there. We differ a little bit with the Giants, where I have them being the worst team in baseball, and Bill has them third, so he probably has some inside information that he didn't bother to share with me. But we still have the Rockies down there a little bit. But we would love to see a push for the Dodgers. Obviously, they're very good. They always do well in free agency. And I'm a small market guy myself. But, so that's how we had the West.
That's right. And the road takes us to the National League Central Division. And we'll take a look-see and see where Joe and I, agree and disagree on that.
Yeah, so this is the division that we've talked about where pick your top three, pick your top four, and you can replace any one of them in one of the four spots. And what a perfect example. I have the Cardinals first. Bill has them second. I have the Brewers third. Bill has the Brewers second. I think he's probably just sucking up and trying to get more viewers out of Wisconsin to come to the show. But that is how Bill works. I'm not a Cubs fan. They actually tend to upset me a little bit in a good way. I have them second based on good baseball knowledge. Bill has them down fourth because he just doesn't respect the Cubs or the Cubs fans. And then he's got the Reds just ahead there. And the Pirates, the dirty Pirates, just down there last. So let me tell you about the Pirates. I'm being totally honest. If I could pick a 2 or a 3 game series right now, anywhere in the United States that I could pick to go watch the Brewers play a baseball game, I want to do that in Pittsburgh. That is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful stadium across the river. The entire outfield, the entire stadium faces the downtown, home plates downtown with some great breweries and hotels and restaurants. Just Pittsburgh is an amazing place for baseball. They just haven't had anything. Hasn't it been since the 1970s since the Pirates have probably had a great baseball team? We are family. They need to get that pumping and going again. That is a great, amazing city for baseball, and I don't understand for sports. I don't understand why they're so bad. The hockey stadium's close to the football field. The football field and the baseball stadium are so close. Pirates, come on, man. Come on. You got to do something. Come on.
Absolutely. I don't know what it is with the ownership of that organization. They got the ballpark right. Now they just got to get the
beautiful.
team right.
Just absolutely beautiful.
I agree. I agree completely. Well, we have a question from Kingley Way regarding the NL East. So very timely.
So for POD's Bill and Joe's Sports Zone show, here's the question: who will win the NL East this year? So let us know which team is going to come ahead in the National League East Division. And by the way, check out Bill and Joe's Sports Zone, 11 p.m. Philippines time. See you soon.
So Kingley's pissing me off a little bit.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He's going to the Hawks games. He's going to the Braves games. He's hanging out in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him. Good for him. I love it. That Atlanta is an amazing place, amazing culture, beautiful, absolutely beautiful city. One of my favorite cities in the U.S. So, Kinsley, thank you. So he was talking NLC East.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm very, very conflicted. You see my list there where I have the Mets third. Bill will be the first one to tell you. I tried to do a do-over. I think the Mets and the Braves, pick one of those two teams to win the division. And realistically, the Mets could be one of the best teams offensively in baseball. They really could be.
That's true. That's a good point.
They may have brought back Howard Johnson for that team this year. Remember Hojo?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have one of the best offenses in baseball this year.
Yeah.
Well, I love the Mets. I love the Mets. Love the Braves. Unfortunately, they play in the same division because I think that's one of the best two teams in the National League.
Absolutely. I broke down the ALCS playoffs and the NLCS. Coach, I'll throw up the ALCS, and if you don't mind throwing in your 2 cents and kind of take a look at the graph there and let me know what you think about that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty strong. It's pretty solid. I think the White Sox are going to surprise some teams this year. I think it's going to be tough for the Yankees from start to finish to rule the whole thing, and I actually have the White Sox coming out of that. But I really do think the rest of your teams in there. I have Toronto, obviously. with my group, but not advancing. I think the White Sox are coming out of there. I really do.
All right, Coach, we'll take a look at the NLCS playoffs. If you want to give those that a once-over, let me know what your thoughts on this are.
Yeah, so spoke earlier, nothing against the Dodgers. They have a tremendous history in baseball, the Yankees and the Dodgers, and some of the best World Series that were ever in my lifetime. They were with each other. What I really love this year is I think the Mets and the Braves are going to be there. I think they're going to be in there. I think the Mets could come out of there where Bill has the Padres. I think the Mets could advance. I definitely have the Braves. I really think you could see in the NLCS the Braves and the Mets and flip a coin on either one. I do have the Braves. I would be very content to see the Mets come out of there. I wouldn't have any issues with that. Bill and I saw the Brewers and the Mets play each other prior to you going over to the Philippines. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. With that little boy that came out from with his mom from New York, and everything was great for about 8 innings, and then Milwaukee came back, and little boy wasn't so happy anymore, and that was a lot of fun. Great game. We moved, if you remember that. We sat behind just kitty corner from home plate and had absolutely amazing seats, and that was a great time. The Mets have been really trying to bring it back.
Yeah,
and I think they are there now. Right now, they could have one of the best teams offensively in baseball, and honestly, I wish we could go see them play each other again this year. Absolutely phenomenal. We haven't talked about it yet. There are going to be fans this year in the stands, even though it's going to be limited. It's going to add a lot back to baseball this year. It's going to add a lot to the summer, and just so happy that people can get back to the ballpark. I've said it for years. I'll say it forever. Nothing better than a day at the ballpark.
Yeah, wasn't it you though, Coach, that was capping that kid in the leg? When they ended up losing, wasn't that you? It looked like you.
He was starting to whine a little bit, and I did flick him in the back of the head a couple times, But and then when his mom turned around, I pointed at you. I was like, well, that was that guy.
Oh, come on now. He's just kidding, you guys. So, that is just too crazy, man. So, yeah, that was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
Great day. What a great day.
Absolutely. It was a bag full of fun for sure. All right, you guys, with that, we've got the feedback forum, and that's straight ahead. And Coach, I would like to also, conversate with you a little bit about OUFN's question.
Hey, POD, out until further notice here. If you like traveling, if you like live streams, if you like everything under the sun, check my channel out until further notice. And I got a question for your Detroit Tigers. With the hiring of AJ Hinch and the history behind him with his former team, the Houston Astros, even though he's had success, but he's also had a little bit of scandal. Do you think that he can replicate what he had in Houston? Bar none, besides the whole cheating and all the stuff that's came with it. Do you think that he can replicate that with the roster that he has? Or maybe give it some time, and he probably could, get them to into the playoffs and probably do some damage somewhere in there?
All right. Really good question, Coach. I'll hit on the Tigers real quick and give a fair assessment about where I think they'll stack up. As you saw in the American League Central, I did, even though they're my favorite team, I did pick them last, to finish in 2021. But I would like to make mention, though, that they are far away from being a playoff team at this point. But they have made progress. Their starting roster is much better and further along at this point than it was a year ago. And a lot of that has to do with the credit of their new skipper, AJ Hinch. And I'll let you weigh in on him, Coach, here in a moment. The offseason move that I really like, they picked up Grossman, a left fielder. He's not one of those big name household baseball player names, but he's a steady Eddie. He's a veteran, and amongst the boys, he'll bring leadership to the locker room, as well as modeling the type of behavior that a ball player should exhibit, both on and off the field. So as of now, and according to my scout Kevin Kennedy, Grossman, Candelario, Castro, Cabrera, he's been around forever. Shope, Ramos, Nunez, Mazzara, and Jacoby Jones is the tentative starting lineup for the Tigers right now. I will say that the Tigers do have a really promising pitching staff. They've got some young guys. They got some young arms. They're going to be relying on guys like Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, who was a steal in the draft a year ago. They picked him up in the 9th round. And, of course, a guy that I think is going to end up being the face of the Tigers, Matt Manning, will also be in that rotation. There's a lot of baseball people that feel as though that these three will end up being really good quality starters for the Detroit Tigers. I gave them an offseason grade of a B, and I see promising things for the Tigers. Right now, they're not going out and contracting high-profile players. It's too soon for that right now. There's a lot of building to do. Now, unless you have a comment about the direction in which the Tigers are heading, there's the other question. AJ Hinch, what do you think about the mess that he was involved in over there in Houston, and then now having a year off from baseball as punishment, and now the skipper of the Tigers? What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
Yeah, I think that's a legit question. I think that's something you have to talk about. So immediately you look at the success that they had down there. A huge part of that, obviously, knows baseball extremely well. You talked about them having a pitching staff and possibly the steal of the draft. Their lineup being better. If you take away everything else, I think you bring in now a guy that just understands baseball. I think that he's a great manager. I think he has the potential to do a great job with a young pitching staff. Defensively, offensively, I think they should be better with the names that you've mentioned. Defensively, that young pitching staff, if no other reason, they should be definitely better because they're probably stealing signs.
They're probably stealing signs. Hey, look, there's been a lot of people.
Hey, I drug it out. I had to play it out. And in all honesty, that is what it is. And everybody's pretty sure that it happened. There is no doubt that you don't have that type of success, that sometimes that stuff worked, sometimes it didn't. My opinion, more often than not, it didn't. You watched film, you did your homework. You have an organization like the Tigers. They're looking to come in and scrap and claw and fight. And they've got a lot of great restaurants downtown for these guys to go down and have a great meal. And they need to start coming to practice and putting some of that great talent that they have onto the baseball diamond and battling back and using all the resources they have, to include AJ, to get themselves back into that. And I'd be surprised if they aren't one of those teams that game in and game out this year. Yeah. They're gonna scratch and they're gonna fight and they're gonna claw. Absolutely. And they're gonna eat at some great restaurants downtown in Detroit and feel better about it.
feel better about themselves. Yeah, eating always makes me feel better about myself. But here, let me throw this out at you. There's been some of my friends and even people that I don't know that have been posting comments in social media about AJ Hinch being a cheater and this and that, and
it's going to happen.
yeah, and pretty much, yeah, exactly. But here's the thing that I want to point out. I don't condone what he did. All right out of the gate, I don't condone it. But I do want to bring people back down to reality. Baseball is a game comprised of cheaters, and it has been that way all the way back through history. You can go all the way back. Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose betting on baseball.
Pete Rose bet on his own teams to win baseball.
Yeah,
he never bet to lose.
Yeah, that's true, and I love.
I like that.
I love Pete Rose. Don't get me wrong, but the table that I'm setting here is there's a game comprised of cheaters. Pine tar on baseball bats, drilling holes in baseball bats and filling it with cork to make your bat lighter so you generate more bat speed, which equates to what? Power. Doctoring the baseball, putting foreign substances on the baseball. PEDs.
You put snot on the ball?
Running, and if I need to load the ball up a little, just wipe my nose.
You put snot on the ball?
Haven't got an arm like yours. I got to put anything on it I can find.
No. Performance.
Great movie. Great movie. Major League. Great line from that movie. You put snot on the ball.
On the ball, yeah. So you see my point. My point is this: people should not be like shocked that AJ Hinch was caught up in a cheating scandal when Major League Baseball is comprised of cheaters over the years. Okay, now I'm not saying it's right; it's absolutely wrong. But some people are acting as if though Hinch should not be able to ever coach Major League Baseball again. Why? If you let people PEDs come back and play ball, there's a lot of great Major League Baseball players that got caught up in PEDs. A lot came back and played again. Pine tar, baseball bats, cork bats, doctoring baseballs. Why Hinch then? Why Hinch? Sure, he did wrong, but here's the deal. Major League Baseball put down a punishment to ban him from baseball for 1 year. He did the crime. He did the time. What? Is this guy not supposed to ever coach again? Is he ever not to be affiliated with baseball again? Now, on 2 occasions, he did go back and beat the camera with a baseball bat because he didn't like it. But here's the other thing about that Coach Joe that I don't like, is that he had a dugout full of prima donnas, and he's the dog, yet he let the tail wag the dog. So one of the good things is I think he learned from this experience. He's going to a team like the Tigers that have young players, and he's the big dog in the dugout now. Thoughts about anything that I hit on?
Absolutely. So you talked about the PEDs. We all know Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire. We all know that there was a third person in the bathroom stall when they were injecting each other. That's common knowledge. It was Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, and Bill Asbury in that bathroom stall when they were injecting each other with PEDs. We all know that happened. Okay, so that was just part of baseball in that time. So that happened. In all honesty, stealing signs, how big of a deal is that? So here's the thing: football. a lot of people hold up the cards, and there's 4 different. There's KFC, and there's BP, and there's a Brewers baseball, and there's Texaco gas station, and it all means something, right? If I figure that out standing across the field, you don't think I'm going to yell out to my football team, here comes the dive to the right, here comes double option. Absolutely. If you're dumb enough for me to figure out your signs, shame on you.
Yeah.
That's how I look. Yeah. You be smarter than I am.
Right.
Don't film what I'm doing. Don't film what I'm doing, and don't do comparisons. But if you're on the sidelines and I'm on the sidelines and you figure out what I'm doing, shame on me.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know, I never judged you ever for being in the same bathroom stall with Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. It made perfect sense to me. That you were in that bathroom stall with them. So, and I've never judged you, and you know that.
And yeah, said the guy who turned his Toys R Us hat around because he couldn't stand to eat. But anyway, yeah, you know,
you better not edit that out either.
Oh, it won't. It'll be there. But you know what? Yeah, I think, and here's the other thing.
I meant what I said about stealing signs. Shame on you if I can figure it out.
Yeah. We stole signs. We tried to steal signs when I played high school baseball. You know, it's stealing signs has always been a part of baseball, like hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet, like scratching and spitting. It's all been a part of the game. It doesn't make it right. No, but it's always been a part of the game. Now, I will grant you this. The Houston Astros took it to a whole new level. You know, they went a little bit above and beyond in their creativity. You know,
exactly why Detroit's going to be better this year on defense.
But let me tell you this. You still got to throw the ball. You still got to hit the ball. You still got to run after you hit the ball. You got to catch the ball. You know? So I think a little bit, there was a whole lot of more made out of the entire thing than what probably should have been. Now, this will go by the wayside until the next guy gets caught or until the next team gets caught. Had this never happened, at this point in this juncture where they're at right now as a team, Detroit would have never been able to land a manager with the talents, the caliber of an A.J. Hinch. That's kind of, to me, like a Sparky Anderson type thing. You know, I still hold Sparky Anderson, high because A.J. Hinch still has a whole lot to prove, of himself as a skipper. Not to mention the baseball track record to even compare with Sparky Anderson, the former Tigers manager from years ago, winning the 84 World Series. But yeah, I think that we kicked that horse enough. Coach, do you have the grades? Do you have any grades that you threw out there for the teams? If you do, we're going to do that straight ahead. Gotta love that ballpark.
Yep. Unfortunately, the heavy hitters, the great teams that can buy their lineups year in, year out, the Dodgers score an A, the Yankees. We had talked earlier about the Padres, hoping to be one of those teams that jump in and can pass up the Dodgers. A lot of us would like to see that. The Braves, that's a team that it wasn't very long ago. I mean, it really wasn't very long. They built that brand new stadium. You could have showed up at every single game and sat anywhere you wanted. There was nobody in that stadium, and now they're probably going to be a contender. The White Sox, the Cards, the Mets, all teams that we talked about potentially being in the World Series. Go figure that they scored well with an A, and they are going to be one of those. They're going to be teams that are going to be rated high to get back into the playoffs and deep into the playoffs. B grades also, great grades. The Tigers, just talked about the Tigers. That was something that they needed to do. They jumped up there. The Red Sox, the Brewers, the Twins. These are those teams that have been are always laying back there in the second tier that are hoping to get beyond, and they're the smaller market teams dealing with some of those teams that we just mentioned about that got A grades. It makes it a little tougher for them. C grades means you did okay, no big deal. You're still in Major League Baseball with the Phillies, the Mariners. D grades, the Reds and Indians, meaning you really didn't do anything to help your ball club. You still got some great players, but you're kind of content where you're sitting right now.
Right.
And you're just not really doing anything at all. It's puzzling that the Cubs didn't want to do anything, but they really didn't. Cubs fans are thick across the United States. They were just successful not too long ago, so they're hungry for another one. Or they're saying, hey, we'll go back to 1908, not win another one since. We haven't figured out what they're doing yet. The Rays, playing down there years ago, had their early success. They really haven't done a whole lot. And the Pirates, that rich sports city, what a shame. Some of the greatest hockey and football and college and quarterback central. So many great quarterbacks came out of Pennsylvania to play in the NFL. Pirates just not doing anything at all in that beautiful stadium. So there's your grades.
I totally agree with that. The Red Sox, want to shout out Pinoy Ahoy's Red Sox. One of their goals for their team is just to get some good vibes going. The Boston Red Sox historically have always been a very competitive team. But it's kind of sad for baseball, Joe. They've kind of lost their mojo right now, in Beantown. And it's really sad to see that, because when I think of baseball, I always, as a traditionalist, I always thought of the Boston Red Sox, So
that's a sports city. They don't. They're not going to lay down for this very long. They need to, every year their goal is to beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
so they can't put up with that much longer.
Yeah. But with the likes of Bogarts and Devers, not to mention a breakout Bobby Delbeck, that would help, for them to make some noise. Boston Red Sox, they could be a team, but again, they're in a tough division right now.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it'll be really tough for the Bo Sox, but we'd definitely love to see them get back into the fray of things. We have some questions here. We'll throw up on the screen. Pinoy Ahoy asks, Joe, what is your prediction on the second pick in the National Football League draft this year? What do you think is going to happen there?
So the questions that we got, they were tough. I appreciate them, but I didn't appreciate them. Pinoy Ahoy, that is just a tremendous question, especially this year in the draft. There is absolutely no safe answer. The Jets are sitting there. They're still talking about trading Sam Darnold.
You're right.
Yep. If they do, it's for Deshaun Watson. So I'm going to say their quarterback is still going to be Sam Darnold. If it's not, I'm going to say it's Deshaun Watson. And a safe pick for me, Benoit, is I'm going with Jamar Chase, LSU wide receiver that we spent a lot of time earlier. I just that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, what?
That's a safe pick for me.
Yeah, and you know what, Coach Joe, I see exactly why you went there. They could help their team, best serve their team by sticking with the quarterback that they have right now, and take Lamar Chase and somebody to throw to. I think that that Darnold could be a good quarterback if they just work with him a little bit and commit themselves to him.
The talk today was actually Seattle is really open to bringing Sam Darnold in and trading Russell Wilson. So even more reason for me to go with Chase in my number 2 pick.
Absolutely. And there is also the possibility that they could trade back and grab more draft capital as well.
Yeah, great question. Didn't like it at all because it really put me in a tough spot. So great question.
Yeah. Also from Pinoy Ahoy, do you think Kansas City or Tampa Bay will make it back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so Kansas City's been there twice. Great feat. I think your Super Bowl windows are definitely built in 2 or 3 year windows. I think Super Bowls are built not on quarterbacks. I think they're built on an entire franchise. So I think it'd be extremely tough for Kansas City to get back 3 years in a row. Not to say that they couldn't still be the best team in the AFC. They certainly could be. The Bills are really coming on. So I think it's one of those two teams. I just think it's super tough to do it 3 years in a row. And for that reason only, I'm going to say no, I don't think they will. As far as Tampa Bay, they're probably going to have most of the same players that they had here. The pieces are still going to be in place. Also extremely tough to get back 2 years in a row. This year, a lot of things went their way, from poor coaching decisions in Green Bay just before halftime with 8 seconds left, playing man-to-man defense with no safety help. Coaching junior high football, I wouldn't do that, but so great throw by Brady, great coaching. I think they got out-coached. Right before, Green Bay at the end of the game, they need 8 points. They kick a field goal. They had to have a touchdown. They kick the field goal. They still have to have a touchdown. Tampa Bay did everything that they needed to get there, and then just were phenomenal in the Super Bowl. I won't take anything away from them. So hard to get back twice. I don't think everything's going to line up for them exactly the way it did. They really did have a lot of things go their way at the end of the year, and they earned it. So it's easier to say no than they will go back, but it's not to think that they won't be one of the favorites. I just don't think that either one of those two teams are going to go back. The AFC, I think that could easily be the Bills. I think Cleveland. Out of the NFC, that's actually tougher because I think Tampa Bay is probably got to be the favorite right there. But I'm still going to say no because everything matched up for them. It's just hard to get back. So I'm saying no to both of them.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with that. Let's bring in some other questions here by Philip Janik. What do you think of Lou Gehrig Day? If you don't mind me, I'll tackle that one, Coach.
Yeah.
I actually love this. Having a Lou Gehrig Day. It starts this season honoring the Hall of Fame New York Yankee first baseman. His grace and courage that he showed. With his luckiest man alive speech. If anybody hasn't seen that, I would strongly encourage you to get on YouTube and search luckiest man alive speech, Lou Gehrig. Just an incredibly athlete. His time was cut short due to Lou Gehrig's disease. Yeah, I'm really happy to see that go into effect. Hazy asks, who is your favorite rugby team, POD? What's that? I don't, Hazy, I don't know if Coach does or not, but I personally don't follow rugby. I'm not a rugby guy.
So I can kind of throw this one out there. Rugby is actually it's a great sport. American football derived from rugby.
You're just sucking up to Hazy Cheesy.
No, I want her to do some more videos of her dancing for sure. We all want to see that.
Okay.
But like the guard and the tackle positions and in football actually came from rugby. The All Blacks are a historical, phenomenal rugby team that if you follow rugby or know anything about it. So the All Blacks are definitely, and in any rugby team from Ireland, tomorrow St. Patrick's Day, Hazy. So also any rugby team from Ireland, and send us some more dancing videos.
Wow, awesome. Awesome. Ones that we can play. And she also asks, who is my bet for the Formula One to win? I would say that Lewis Hamilton, he remains the heavy favorite, in the sport, but not to count out George Russell, who has been climbing up the board himself. So, and then with that, we're gonna wrap this up by hitting on the movies, and we'll do the movies straight ahead.
I am here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Atlanta Falcons. So please check out Bill and Joe's Sports Zone channel there on Saturday nights, 11 p.m. Philippines time.
He makes me smile. I've stood right there before the stadium was done. He's only a block away from the College Football Hall of Fame. He's even closer to the Hawks Arena. My favorite sports bar in Atlanta, Stats, is right down there. I love it. I love seeing those videos.
Awesome. And we're going to go to check out the Rileys with his favorite movie.
Hey, it's Bill from Check Out the Rileys. This week's question, what's your favorite sports movie of all time? Come on, it's got to be Hoosiers. Yeah, it's a basketball movie about a small school in Indiana winning it all. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it now.
Phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie, but I have a question. Where did he get a hat that says Hoosiers on it?
He's from Indiana.
Phenomenal movie. But where did he get that hat?
He is from Indiana. He's an Indiana guy. Yeah. That was a great movie.
Yep. So if he's from Indiana, he's playing down the post. He knows how to use the backboard a little bit too.
Oh, well, I've seen him shoot baskets. That's debatable. But I did like that little, drinking the coffee, putting the POD Sports Zone on hold. Like we're at his beckoning, I'll get to you when I get to you. Yeah. Good one there, Riley. Gotta love it. We've got Kevin Kennedy. He says he can't reduce them to just one, so he'll cheat and give us his 4. Cinderella Man, there are a lot of terrific boxing flicks, but this one's starring Russell Crowe and directed by Ron Howard has the most heart. Number 2, Friday Night Lights. This movie shows a commitment to a shared goal and can help a team and community rise above individual problems. Heck, even if it weren't for football in this movie, it would still be great. Talladega Nights. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Got to have a little comic relief. Shake and bake, baby, and you can pretty much get the gist of the remainder there. That last one there is that was a real funny one. Hazy says, I believed Joe's top 10 were great. Going back to your previous show, thank you, Joe. You're awesome. Looking forward to your tight ends. And Bad Girl chimes in, Joe is the man. Thank you for educating us a bit about wide receivers. Looks like great picks. I got a question too. Somebody earlier said Joe and Bill. This show started out day one, Bill and Joe. See, It even says right there, Bill and Joe, right there by my finger. How did it get to be Joe and Bill? How did that happen?
I have no idea. I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah.
I just want to thank Kevin for throwing in Talladega Nights right there, because that's funny.
Yeah.
A great one. And the other two comments at the bottom, we'll get to the tight ends, I guess, and I'll just trying to keep bringing my knowledge and coach Bill along here to help him out.
And we're going to do tight ends probably next weekend? The 27th?
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking this next time around, there's some minor league baseball changes that they're throwing out there that actually require a lot of good conversation. And I think we should take a look at that, stay with baseball here one more time, and might be a little bit shorter show, but talk about that. Then we'll get back to football, because then we can talk about some free agency too that's taking place.
That sounds awesome. Great choice. Any final comments, any questions that you might have that people can leave us or post below the video? Any final thoughts?
It's just always a pleasure to be on the Bill Show, and I'm happy to be along for the ride.
The Bill Show. All right, you guys and gals. It's been a pleasure. Don't let Joe pull your leg on his 5 sleepers. That's all him, you guys. That's all him trying to pass the buck to little old POD. All right, don't lag behind. All right, try to keep up. We'll catch you next weekend. Bye.
Hi, I'm Brian Rozeppa, author of You're Hired, A Guide to Working in Sports. I'm inviting you to tune in to the POD Sports Zone show with Bill and Joe every Saturday, 11 p.m. Philippines time.